Jeff, it is said it's showtime on my computer for 17 minutes.
17 minutes.
17.
So, we were 53 seconds early on a record here not too long ago.
Washes out, man.
It's all even. It all works.
Even. It's all even.
Brent, this is it, man.
This is it.
We've worked. So we have our council chambers here with us, as we often do, which is awesome. But we put a tremendous amount of work into, planning this. I don't know if it'll work in execution or not, but
we put a tremendous amount of work into the whole show.
It
is appropriate that this is officially, Jeff, this show has felt like it's had more endings than Lord of the Rings. This show has had more endings than those late episodes of Crusade.
That's what I was going to say, more endings than a Crusade episode.
Yeah, but this is it for Babylon 5 for the first time. Like, there is no more after this.
Sort of. So we have the autobiography, and then
that's not for the first time. That's a whole different thing.
But it is the first time.
It's like an interlude thing.
Epilogue. Prelude.
Oh my God. So we have another ending. Anyway. But as far as talking about the series as a whole and what it means to have gone through this for the first time, this is it, man. So
it is. So heads up to everyone here, people on YouTube, everything. This is probably going to be a long one. We're talking about 110 episodes of Babylon 5. We got 13 episodes of Crusade. We got them.
We're talking about all of them.
Talking about all of it.
The whole thing.
So we're planning on this one being a little bit long. It's going to start when we get to our opening theme. I was a bit indulgent in putting it together. So hopefully it's enjoyable. If it's not, you get a little nap before we start. It all works out.
Yeah. Jeff, you've come up with a few things that I'm not privy to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of excited to get to do that. So I think that's everything outside of just saying to all of you folks out there, Patreon, Council Chambers, thank you guys. Jeff and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. We wouldn't be continuing if it wasn't for you. And you're going to see, there's a video package that Jeff put together that is going to chronicle our time. And you're going to see quite a bit of an evolution.
Yeah.
And much of that is parallel to you guys and what you guys have done. And so direct impact back to the show. So I'm excited for you guys to see that and for us to see it. So Jeff, let's hit that magic button. Not for the last time. We're going to keep going. So
yeah, we got a little more. So, all right, here we go.
What about you? Seen any action?
Yeah.
Sure.
Where were you, Colonel? Digging trash out of garbage cans to who was loyal and who wasn't?
No, it's not. It's mating with us. You just have to say, no, I won't. One more time and they can say yes, you will.
Funding for this program was made possible by grants from the jal'Zha Memorial Fund.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time, not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Akin.
And I'm Brent Allen. You know, about 2 years and change ago, Jeff and I were two veteran Star Trek nerds that decided to team up and watch Babylon 5 for the very first time because we somehow missed it 30 years ago when it first aired. And now we've done it. We've done the whole series. We've done all the films. We've done the spinoffs. We've done the whole thing. Jeff, listeners, viewers, welcome to the Babylon 5 for the first time series wrap up.
Here we are. Here we are. Brent, we are 30 years too late to this, as you said, but some stuff happened and we decided to watch this. Why why did you people know the origin story of our show where
Mm-hmm.
I had it playing in the background and reached out and we connected and whatever, but like, why did you say yes?
So, I didn't come to sci-fi as a genre until later in life. I was in my mid-20s. I was living overseas, had nothing else going on, right? So, in many ways, that's why I missed so much of this time period, this 90s time period that really I grew up in, right? So I caught up with Star Trek, caught up with Stargate, and those kind of became like my bread and butter. Did Battlestar Galactica and kind of dipped my toes in here and there. Babylon 5 was one of those things that wasn't really on my radar until, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks before we kind of hooked up. Like it was
Really?
that soon.
Wow.
And I had heard about a show that Star Trek had supposedly ripped off. Not my beloved Star Trek. We would never do that, right? And come to find out it was Babylon 5. And, I didn't know the whole story. I didn't really know what was going on with it. But I was really intrigued by, well, did they? I was just curious. I was intrigued. And for me personally, Jeff, it was probably a 6-day span. The name Babylon 5 crossed my media feed. It just crossed my brain waves no less than 12, 15 times.
Wow.
Yeah, like it was just boom, 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 boom. One of them actually has to do with you. You don't even know this part. You were a guest on the Trek Profiles podcast, John Krikorian.
Yeah.
Our friend John, who's helped us out. I was listening to your episode because I was vetting you for a thing for some stuff. But I was listening to your episode, and your episode was right close to Norman Lau's episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I wound up listening to Norman's episode. Well, him and John really got into their whole talk about Babylon 5 and all this stuff. And they had like a whole separate thing about Babylon 5 that they wound up doing. And that sort of really started the snowball for the whole thing. But I was listening to Norman's because I found him like right close to yours when I was looking for yours.
That's cool.
But yeah, that's really what it was. And then when you sent out like hey, I think I should document this. I'm going to watch this for the first time. I think I should document this. Because for the other side of this is coming out about Beam Me Up. I'd said to Matt, my co-host at the time, like, I'm tired of doing podcasts where I watch what somebody else has done and I talk about what they've done. Like I want my show to be my own full creation, And I was kind of looking at what that all looked like and what that meant. And, I told Matt, I was like, yeah, I'm looking at going into this battle. And he's like, what are you doing? You said you don't want to do this anymore. It's like, yeah, I know, but look, it's only 110 episodes. It's real quick. We'll be in and out and I'll just move on. And it's, it's something I want to document. And well, here we are. So that's my personal getting into this show. And you and I we'd had a couple of episodes we guested with together and had some pretty good camaraderie. I trusted your voice with stuff and, we ran the test episodes and it seemed to work okay. So didn't suck. How about you?
I was in sci-fi from the day I came out of the womb because my mom was a sci-fi nerd. And so like, I just grew up in all of it. And I remember when Babylon 5 came out, I was part of that group that was just like, oh, cheap knockoff Star Trek, here it is. I don't know. And I remember at one point giving it a watch and saw, Walter Koenig on there. I saw Bester. I had no idea who he was, but I just saw him on it. I was just like, oh, for real? Look at this. This is how desperate they are. And it didn't look very high quality compared to some of the other stuff that was out there. And so I just had like this negative view of it overall. But as I wandered the world and did my stuff and whatever, I found that people who liked Babylon 5 freaking loved Babylon 5. And so it always stuck there. And I always thought to myself, like, I need to watch this. I need to get in. And I can't tell you how many times I tried watching The Gathering and I just couldn't get through it, or I got through it and just didn't pick up. I remember really clearly back in 2014, I was traveling quite a bit when I was working in pro wrestling, flying around to different shows. And I downloaded The Gathering onto my iPad to watch on the plane. And I fell asleep watching it. probably more because of the travel and everything else, but it just never quite hit for me. So then it literally did fast forward to, I know I've told this part of the story a lot, but when I do my day job work and I'm actually just working and not in a meeting, I like to have something playing in the background, and had what was then HBO Max. I'm like, oh, there's Babylon 5. I'll watch it in the background, because then even if it is what, all the stereotype horrible stuff I thought it was, no skin off my nose, right? It's just a background thing. And immediately, I was like, oh my God, there's something to this. And I tweeted out from my Starfleet Leadership Academy thing. It blew up. We connected, and here we are.
Yeah. And again, we did the test episodes. It didn't suck.
Yeah.
And turns out, actually, I think it's, here's the thing. I have said this several times before, and I think the best advice I can ever give somebody who wants to start their own show is figure out what you would want to listen to as a person, and then make that show.
Yeah.
And this show, I can truly say, just from my own standpoint, and certainly I'm biased and I fully own that, this is the show I would have wanted to listen to going through this.
Totally.
The way we did this, the way things happened, the phenomenal feat that you and I were able to accomplish, mostly through the help of the great community out there.
Yes.
To stay in the bubble, the spoiler-free bubble, and really walk into Sleeping in Light with no knowledge of what was going to happen. Also walking in, and 5 minutes in, we're going, of course that's what this is about.
Uh-huh.
How did we miss that? Yeah, it's been an incredible journey so far.
It has. And Brent, I put together a video package.
You did.
To highlight some of our journey. So I'm going to play that right now. And it's a couple minutes long, but it's just going to chart our journey. And I hope everyone enjoys.
Before you do that, Jeff,
mm-hmm.
I just want to say, and I haven't seen this video yet. I'm very eager to see it. But you and I have often talked off mic. When you're in podcasting, that there's this kind of rule. By the time you get to episode 50, especially episode 100, you look back on those early episodes and you go, oh. I'm interested to see exactly what this is going to be, because I haven't gone back and watched our old episodes yet. So
yeah, I spent some time in those old episodes getting these clips, and I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So let's see if I know how to use these controls in StreamYard, and here we go. We have the rule of 3. We get 3 Trek references a piece per episode. So Brent, choose your spots carefully.
It's like a game. That's what I like about it. It's I'm not going to apologize for making Star Trek references. I'm not going to do it anymore.
They will. There are seeds planted in every episode.
Here's the thing. I'm going to start holding y'all to this, because you're not the first person who I've heard say this. I've heard lots of people continue to say this, because if they don't come back and circle back to some of these threads that we're picking up as first-time viewers, well, I'm not going to be mad at y'all, but I'm going to shake my fist. An episode that has no message can be redeemed by being a good episode. This episode did neither, and therefore is not a good, Jeff, I seriously hated this episode.
Wow.
I'm giving this one no Starfuries.
So the Vorlons, being the first ones that are actively here, have created this process to go and confirm that who the chosen one is the chosen one. Cool. Awesome. None of that's our problem. This solved a thing that's in JMS's head. You could have just told me, hey, they're the chosen one, and I would have been like, cool. But instead we got this.
It is incredibly hard to not skip ahead and binge through the show. Amazing speeches that we got. We got more than one. I had to bleep myself in the reaction video.
Really?
Because I didn't even realize I said something. And it was I dropped a full-on F-bomb. I was like, that's the most bad speech I've ever heard. Pretty much my complete thoughts. People are going to rip into me in the comments. I don't even care, because this was objectively an awful episode.
Amazing. It was so good. So good. Are we sure this wasn't the series finale?
Right. Jeff, I'm gonna simply say this. This is by far one of the best hours of television I have ever watched in my life.
Period. Full stop.
Period.
This whole series, everything has led to that moment right there. Oh my god.
Oh, jeez.
So everybody's in that ship right there. Oh, look at this, Jeff. Look at all the ships.
Oh my god, like I am really
They're gonna turn. Look, they're gonna get out. They'll turn around and sleep. Holy no!
I shouldn't be feeling like this. Watching a piece of what was crappy CGI, but oh my god. It's from Science Importance. It happened.
Babylon 5 was the last of the Babylon stations. There would never be another. It changed the future, and it changed us.
And it changed us.
It did.
Yeah, quite the journey right there that we went through.
You know, I'm like about 50 pounds lighter now than I was when we first started that show. I was like, oh my gosh, wow.
You and me both. Like it's like
oh my word. You know, the wild thing is, Jeff, I'm pretty sure I can place with, I'd say probably 90% accuracy which episodes each one of those clips came out of.
yeah, probably,
You know.
probably.
Good Lord, Jeff. You're gonna end it on that right there. Holy freaking
You know,
cow.
I was looking for clips for everything, and I
Yeah.
figured the only way to end it is with Sleeping in Light, and I found that clip at the end, and it ended with Ivanova's piece. You know, it changed everything, and it changed us, and I couldn't think of a more appropriate statement. This journey, we're different people than we were when we started this. This show's had that big of an impact on us, I think.
I would agree, and you know, Jeff, we've often talked, and I don't mind saying this because it's going to sound like we're tooting our own horn on this or something like that. The story of Babylon 5 for the first time was not the story of Babylon 5.
Right.
It was the story of Brent and Jeff. You know, like it was our ups and downs. And what I love that you did in that video package, it really reflects it. There were times when we were really high, and there were times where we were really low. And it was a conscious choice that you and I both made to allow ourselves to be on the roller coaster, to be on the ups and downs, far more ups than there ever were downs. And the places we were down just made the ups that much better,
Yeah.
you know? And it's broadened my worldview. It's broadened my sense of what sci-fi could be.
Yeah.
Star Trek is no longer the standard for me.
That's it. That is it right there.
It's
I
not.
could not agree more. Could not
Yeah.
agree more.
Yeah.
There are things that Star
This
Trek
is
is
the standard.
amazing at and does beautifully, and I'm not going to take any of that away from Star Trek, but when it comes from what we used to call a Star Trek message,
Mhm.
Brent, Babylon 5 delivers in such a stronger, more
Sweet.
meaningful way than Star Trek ever has.
Yeah. Yeah. And it delivers in a different way. Like I don't want to take away from Star Trek. And no, don't get me wrong. I love Star Trek. I'm still a Star Trek guy. I love Star Trek. But this is a show that I am so grateful for being in my life.
Absolutely.
There are not a lot of shows where I say, I'm glad that that show was a part of my life. I'm glad to have seen it. I'm glad to have watched it. I'm glad to be able to go through it. But this one, and this is one we talk about. This is one we discuss. This is one that helps write life philosophy. This is a show that unites folks. And I'm so grateful for this journey that we've gotten to go on, and for all the heel turns, the face turns, the ups and downs, the good parts, the bad parts. Like I'm so grateful for all of it.
It's been such a fun ride. Absolutely. And it's like, yeah, it's changed our worldview, our personal view. For me, it's evolved my faith in ways. Like, it's just had a profound impact on both of us. And I'd be remiss at this point too if I didn't. We thank all of you watching and listening a lot, but like, you were a part of that journey and that change as well. And so, I mean, thank you for sticking with us through it, but also thanks for just being around us, you know, and being a part of the whole thing for us. It was an incredible journey, and I couldn't imagine taking it without all of you.
Yeah. And we've said all the time, the Babylon 5 fan community is the best community we've ever been a part of. And we truly mean that when we say it. We truly mean that. And we're glad to be a part of it now.
Exactly. We're lurkers.
We're here.
It happened.
Yeah, there we are. There we are. You know, Jeff, we've done a lot of talking around this show. 5 seasons of Babylon 5, 6th season if you count Crusade. We've done lots of these wrap-ups before. One of the things we like about with these wrap-ups is we like talking about our favorite stuff. You know, favorite stuff from the season, favorite stuff. Here we're talking about the whole series, the whole franchise, all of that kind of stuff. We're wrapping this whole thing up. So we're looking at this. This is from the gathering all the way through to the road home and everything in between, right? Jeff, I'm curious. Let's talk favorite characters. There's different levels of character. Okay. There's the main cast, you know, DVD cover type folk, you know, and I don't know if we count Keffer. He was a DVD cover guy, but you know, whatever. He got blowed up on the DVD cover, which is awesome.
He did.
But there's that guys. And then there's the recurring characters, which I think we're going to qualify that as just somebody who showed up more than once.
Okay. That's fair.
But not on the DVD cover. And then there's the one-off characters. Jeff, I want to find out, who are some of our favorite characters? Let's start with one-offs. Who is your favorite one-off character through the whole series of Babylon 5?
Dude, this was such a hard one because there are so many that come through. And I know everyone watching right now is waiting for me to say Walker Smith. And I mean, you wouldn't be, I absolutely did consider him, but really thinking about it, like the one character who I enjoyed seeing, was perfect in the role, and had an incredible impact on the show was Emperor Turhan in The Coming of Shadows.
Yeah.
He was great. Fantastic. How about you?
I'm picking a guy that and this character is a guy. This is a guy that played the role so well. Ironically, it's a role that he pretty much plays in everything that he's in ever. But he played it so well, and it was written so well, and it was done so well with the rest of the cast that I sat back and I went, I want one of that guy in my life. And I'm talking about Rabbi Koslov.
You are, yep.
You know, Rabbi Koslov is my, when I think about the one-off characters, man, I could have used more of him. But gosh, I loved him so much. He was like my dude. Now, before we get out of here, Jeff, do you have any like honorable mentions of these characters? Because I had a list going of trying to figure out who it was, and I boiled it down to Rabbi Koslov. Did you have any honorable mentions for yourself?
Well, Walker Smith, of course, would be one. Whatever Jeffrey Combs's character's name was when in Eyes. Mr. Gray, that's
Mr.
right.
Gray, yeah.
I thought he played that to perfection. It was so well done. There was the big dude in Gropos who just kind of like, you know, hugged all Tiny. Yeah, there you go. I loved him in that episode. And even in that episode again, Franklin's dad was a great one. I mean, I could go on and on. There's so many great ones, but those are the ones that pop out for me top of mind. What are some of your honorable mentions?
David Warner. I don't even remember the name of the character. The Holy Grail guy.
Yeah.
You know, David, I mean,
Of course.
we spent a good deal of time talking about how a single actor can elevate the entire thing. You know, he was a big one for me.
He's like a one-off actor, though. I don't think his character brought very much to the. But I don't know. That's just me.
I think there was an episode that hit both you and I really hard. It just stands out, and the performance couldn't have been done by anybody else other than Brad Dourif playing Brother Edward.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, holy cow, come in and steal the show. Brad friggin' Dourif, man. Like, sheesh. Yeah, but those are the two guys that bubble to the top of my mind real quick.
Those are good ones. Those are really good ones.
All right.
What about
what about recurring characters now?
I had such a hard time with this one, like a real hard time. And who I landed on ultimately, and I'm glad that what you just brought up is a good segue. Brother Theo. I loved every second he was on the screen, and I would have loved more of him also. What was your favorite? I have honorable mentions on this one too, but who is your favorite recurring?
I want to give you my honorable mentions first, and then I'm going to give you my guy.
Okay.
All right. Honorable mentions, Morden.
Yep.
Morden was such a good character. Yeah. Natoth.
Yep. Shit. I literally on my thing I
Natoth.
said, if I'm cheating, it's Natoth, because that's so easy.
Yeah, but it's the good Natoth, not the bad Natoth.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Talon. I really dug Talon so much when we saw him. Naroon was always good, and here's a spoiler because this isn't my guy, Zathras. I love me some Zathras.
Yeah.
Love me some Zathras. But when I look back and I think of who was my favorite returning character, who was just the best character. Nobody say Byron. Stop it right now. It's not Byron. But you know who it is? It's Cartagia.
Oh my God.
Cartagia. The way that he played, what was that guy's name? He had like 2 last names for a name. Like the way he played that character was written so well. He was so evil. You wanted to stab this guy.
Yeah.
You wanted this guy gone. I haven't seen a character played to such perfection until I saw Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like just I know he's a bad character, but my God, he's a character you love to hate. You know, Cartagia is the guy.
I love that because, like you said, not Byron. And one of the conversations we've had about Byron is, well, you hate him because you're supposed to hate him. But the thing is, Byron came on my screen and I was like, oh my God, not again. I'd never wanted Cartagia to be off my screen. Like I loved when he was there. I loved everything about him and I hated him with every fiber of my being. Like he was, Cartagia, that's a great call. I had, Natoth, Morden, Bester. I loved Bester. That was a guy I still want that dive into him and want kind of a thing. But yeah, there are some really good ones throughout the series. But I'm curious now, Brent, the big one. Who's your favorite main cast character?
Well, if you follow the show for any amount of time, I've repeatedly said it's Ivanova.
Yeah.
And I love Ivanova. But I've also always said that if I were to be cast in the reboot, Londo is the character I would want to play.
Mm-hmm.
But when I sit back and I think about it, and I think about it over the course of the entire thing, and I think about what's going on, I think about the character that I like the best. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me take that back a little bit. The character that I relate to the most, the character I see the most of myself in, and that I'm drawn to, the character that I'm rooting for every single time, the character that I just, and that I like, that's me on screen right there. And you know who it is? Captain John Sheridan.
Yeah.
No, not at all. No.
Did you ever work under him?
No. Veer. I'm talking about Veer Cotto. How do you not love Veer Cotto?
For real.
In everything he's in. From his opening deal where he's so he doesn't even remember, he's like playing a video game with, okay, Londo, I'm gonna do whatever, to the man becomes a freaking emperor, and we see him in Sleeping in Light at that dinner table around the table, and he is the man right there. And he's able, in the middle of that, he's able to still be soft and gentle and humble and just exactly what the Centauri need in their leadership positions.
They wrote him so well, and Stephen First acted him so perfectly. Like that moment that after he killed Cartagia and like, you know, he started getting drunk and everything, like it was like the beginning of the fall, but he never fell. Right. You know, so many lesser people or characters would have fallen. Veer kept his head held high even as he was sinking. It's just an incredible balance of a situation like that.
I love it. I love it. How about you, Jeff? Your favorite character? Main cast on the DVD.
All right. I struggled a lot with this one too, because I mean, of course, Dr. Franklin, season 1 was off the list for me in a big way. But I try to think about, like, there's who do I connect with and relate to? Who do I aspire to be? Right. I think that was a big part of this show, is there were, like, G'Kar is a person in so many ways I would aspire to him. Season 4, season 5, G'Kar, not season 1 or 2.
What, you don't want bathrobe with the chest and you know the girls coming out, and most of them Centauri girls, I'm gonna add to, you know.
Wouldn't mind necessarily, but I think, like, I had a hard time deciding what, like, my criteria was going to be for favorite. And so what I decided to go with was, who was the character who every time they came on screen, just about every time they came on screen, I was like, sweet, like this is going to be good. And then had a story that was engaging and pulled me through. And I mean, it's Londo. And so much, honestly, of what makes me love Londo as a character is post Keeper Londo, or just pre to post, like the moment he accepts that Keeper on.
Yeah.
Because here's a person that, we talked when we were watching Crusade about Max Eilerson and how with his ex-wife, he still loved her so much. And he hid it. Like, he would take care of her, do whatever, walk out of her quarters and just be like, oh my God, like, oh, I miss her so much, but never let her see that. That we talked about, that's real love, like deep love. He had that not just for Centauri, but for the galaxy. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to suffer quietly, alone, and no one will ever know. In fact, I'll be regarded as one of the greatest villains in galactic history, but I'm actually a hero, and it's fine that no one knows that.
Yeah.
But what really did it for me with Londo, ultimately, is Peter Jurasik. Just his portrayal, the power, his understanding of who and what and why that character is even on screen was, I mean, incredible acting to the point that, like, the community so kind and bought us that cameo. Like, I can't, and we're listening to the autobiography, you know, of JMS read by Peter. He's Londo, man. Like, stop talking like some Jersey dude and get the stank on it. Like,
right.
Just be Malari.
He is a guy that I really have to wonder if JMS didn't pull aside and say, okay, let me give you the full arc of your character from the beginning.
He had to have.
I mean, because the way he played those early episodes of, you know, he's the down and out cast off of the old Republic, you know, just, you know, I forgot how to dance. My shoes are too tight. You know, that guy, you know, he just wants, it doesn't mean anything. I would give it all up for love, to, the over the top frustration. You don't want to know what I want, Mr. Morden. All of them dead, you know, to watching him go through all of those pieces, and the way that he can go so low as a character and to feel that out, but also show the emotion every single time. Like, you remember that there's that one scene, Jeff, when he's on the ship, and the ship they're doing those mass drivers where they're flinging the big asteroids and moons, like, at the planet. And the shot is him seeing his reflection in the glass as he's looking out. Didn't say a word, not a word. And it's the most masterful acting performance I saw of the man from the whole series.
I remember.
And that's saying a lot.
Exactly. I remember on my reaction, that scene, no words, nothing, literal goosebumps. Like I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this. So powerful.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. We do a lot of stuff in our wrap-ups, and I'm sure, we just talked about our favorite stuff here. I'm sure we have some ranking of some things that we're going to do here pretty soon, but Brent would like to rank something we have never ranked before.
Well, I want to ask you. Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
You want to rank something? Oh. Does it have to do with the character?
No.
I want to can I throw something in on you real quick?
Oh, sure.
We're
Yeah.
talking about characters and ranking.
Okay.
Here's my question. I want you to think, and this is no slight to Michael O'Hare, but if you want to throw him in, that's fine. I'm going to make the assumption of Captain John Sheridan, Captain Matthew Gideon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those two guys specifically. If you were, and you don't have to name the whole thing, but if you were to think of your top 5 captains in science fiction.
Oh my God.
Do either of those two guys crack your top 5?
Yes.
Like has this show done that work to become like, dude, that's one of my guys right there?
The answer is yes. One of them would absolutely hit my top 5.
And
I'm trying to think of what my top 5 would be. Right. So like off the top of my head, right, I've got Janeway and I've got Kirk and I have Admiral Adama, probably some other ones, and Matthew Gideon. We have a segment we're doing later. I won't say which one it is, but I will say that one of the things I had in there was that Gideon is a better captain than Sheridan.
That's not a hard argument to make, actually.
I agree. Yeah.
So, but I would also say their jobs are what
different.
We saw from their jobs were also very, very different.
Very true. Very true. But yeah. Do either of them crack yours? Like what is your top 5 look
no,
like?
Sheridan, he not only cracks my top 5, he cracks my top 3.
Really?
Sheridan does. He's so good. He's so well performed by Bruce Boxleitner.
It's true.
He brought the entire show to a new level when he came on. And it wasn't just like his first episode out. Like he had to get into the role a little bit. Matthew Gideon, I don't know that he's top 5. He's definitely top 10. I loved Captain Gideon. He'd probably be close. But yeah, Sheridan is by far just, I would follow Bruce Boxleitner into battle fully believing we were going to win no matter what. I would follow. He's got that in his voice. He's that whole gravitas. I would follow him. No problem.
I agree. Absolutely. There's so much to love about him. I have, I feel like season 5 hurt him tremendously.
Well, he wasn't a captain at that point.
But just him, but it shed a different light on his captainhood for me, where like in putting the Interstellar Alliance together and what that, in my opinion, turned into was just really, I don't know. I looked at him very differently throughout the whole thing, and I feel like this is the thing with Picard in Star Trek, and they actually addressed this in The Next Generation of where he held himself separate and honestly a little higher than he did the rest of the people on his ship. Like he didn't lord it over anyone, and it wasn't like some narcissistic, horrible thing, but he saw himself as a different and cut above. And I feel like looking back on Sheridan through the lens of a season 5, I think he was kind of the same thing. Like he wasn't one of the dudes, like even though he kind of showed up that way a few times, like him and Ivanova telling jokes, sleeping in his office because they don't want to pay rent to to Earth Force and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's his inner circle. It's Ivanova, he's doing that stuff with. And, yeah. And also I think when we talk about captains, there's captain out in the world doing things. And then there's like Star Trek, the motion picture, right? They put me behind a desk. I'm an admiral and now I'm flying a desk. Sheridan, That's where he would
put him on
thrive,
the list,
is in
yeah.
something like that. Whereas a Gideon or someone else out there doing it day to day. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Gosh. Okay. Back to the thing you wanted to rank. Sorry.
Well-
I wanted to know because I was thinking about that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I hadn't even thought about it really, but yeah, this actually is a thing that our community has asked us repeatedly to rank over the last 6 or so months. This has been something they've been crying out for. Brent, let's rank the season opening segments, the opening themes, and the
From
credits.
our show or from Babylon 5 itself?
From Babylon 5 itself.
Ooh. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
let's do that.
So I queued these up so we can get a little refresher for them. So I'm just gonna play through them, right? I'll play season 1, then if we want to talk about it, we can. But let's do it.
Dawn of the third age of mankind. 10 years after the Earth-Minbari War.
This is such
the
a
Babylon
good
Project
start.
was a dream given form.
You know
Its
what I mean?
goal,
Like this
to
speech
prevent
right
another
here.
war
Yeah.
by creating a place where humans and aliens
Gives you
could work out
everything
their
you need to know.
differences peacefully. It's a port of call, home away from home for
Dawn of the
diplomats,
third age.
hustlers, entrepreneurs, and
graph.
wanderers. Humans and aliens wrapped in 2,500,000 tons of spinning metal, all alone in the night. It can be a dangerous place, but it's our last best hope for peace. This is the story of the last of the Babylon stations. The year is 2258. The name of the place is Babylon 5.
That was a great voiceover.
Do you know what I realized watching that for the first time? All right, we can cut this. We know what this does now.
Yeah, this continues like this. Yeah.
You know, we get into the whole thing about like JMS. I'm not going to say rips off, but pays homage to Lord of the Rings. It was the dawn of the third age.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll call out there. All right. Season 2.
All right.
The Babylon Project was our last best hope for peace. A self-contained world 5 miles
sounds
long,
young.
located.
Yeah, I was going to say, he doesn't have the gravitas of Sinclair here.
A place of commerce and diplomacy for 250,000 humans and aliens. A shining beacon in space, all alone in the night. It was the dawn of the third age of mankind, the year the Great War came upon us all. This is the story of the last of the Babylon stations. The year is 2259. The name of the place is Babylon 5.
This part's better than the last part.
Yeah.
Did they hold Delen's changed form out of the first like couple episodes?
They did.
Yeah.
Gaffer!
Who's that?
Boo.
I love that Natoth actually got on the DVD cover.
Yeah, wrong Natoth.
Or at least in the, yeah. Wasn't she still only in like 2 episodes like that whole season?
That's so good.
Okay. All right. Hey, well, real quick. Okay, let's just go through it. Let's rank those.
Okay.
Which one's better, season 1, season 2?
So I'm going to put season 1 above season 2.
I agree. Even though I like the place where they're doing like the pictures and the names, like that was much better than I thought in the first one. The first one was so it pulled you into the show, you know.
I never thought of this before, but the music in the first one is very different. Like immediately from season 2, the music takes a different approach, you know, much more, strong or whatever. But much like in the Mass Effect series, Mass Effect 2 and 3 they have defined kind of soundtracks, but Mass Effect 1 has this soundtrack that's just so immersive and just brings you into this world of wonder and science fiction. And I feel like that's what season 1's music did. It was just like this, it was big and it was mysterious, you know, and totally set the tone. in a cool way.
I'll tell you what the season 2 opening had that the first one didn't. That really, and it was just a single line. It was the year the Great War came upon us.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, using that to define the whole season from episode 1, well before that ever happened. Like,
but dude, you know what that did though?
For it. Like, what's going on?
Remember what that did for us though? Like all the time. Well, is this Great War? You keep talking about this Great War.
Is it the Great War? Where's Garibaldi's secret mission?
Yeah, exactly. Come on, where is it? All right, season 3.
The Babylon Project was our last best hope for peace.
Love Ivanova doing the VO.
It failed. But in the year of the Shadow War, it became something greater. Our last best hope for victory.
I love that change of words there.
It's a real progression, the whole thing.
2260. The place, Babylon 5.
You know what this does that the second season didn't do? Is it feels like it's now, the story is moving. Like, there's season 1.
I used to have them all down.
Buddy, you gotta learn where that skip button is, man.
I had a good time doing that. It was fun.
Veer is all like, Jeff Conway gets in the act in the 3rd season. Okay, all right.
There's the big turn.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when she sits there and goes, you know, Babylon 5 was our last best chance hope for peace. Whatever it is. She goes, it failed.
It failed.
You're like, oh, shoot. And then she goes, it became something more. Oh, like,
yeah.
Jeff, this is above season 2 or season 1.
I agree.
This is the best one so far.
I think like knowing what the season is and how like this opening theme tells that story, but also like the punchiness of the music, dong dong bang, dong dong. I'm in, and especially with that visual, the destroyer coming through with it. I mean, that just punches you in the chest.
Here's the thing: if I'm running across TV and I see, like, I'm clicking channels, I've never watched Babylon 5. I see that intro, I just happen to chop on it. I'm gonna pause and watch that show.
Totally.
That draws me in. The first 2 didn't really draw me in. That pulls me into the show.
Yeah, in fact, like in retro, I think season 1 is amazing in retrospect.
Yeah.
Right. It's like in the moment, it's kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me what the stuff is. All right, season 4.
My guess is you and I are going to separate on this one.
Yeah.
I think
it was the year of fire, the year of destruction,
the year we took back what was ours.
It was the year of rebirth.
The year of great sadness, the year of pain,
and the year of joy.
It was a new age. It was the end of history.
It was the year everything changed.
The year is 2261. The place, Babylon 5.
I had multiple people's voices too.
Yeah. Which is super cool.
Ivanova was such a great character. Beautifully played, masterfully. So
I want to point out.
Like it's all of these guys, right? Like,
listening, just want to point out the snare drum, like just very martial. There's that.
I'm right alongside season 3. Like that draws me in, And it expands so much that it was the year of hope, the year of this, the year of joy, the year of sadness, the year, oh my gosh.
Right. Kind of showing you all the stuff that's coming.
All right, Jeff, where do you put it?
I put this one below 3. And I'll tell you why, as you consider.
Yep.
I think the VO, I like the VO better in the season 4 one. I liked the changing voices. I liked how it really spelled out the season. I mean, season 3 did that also, but this did so in a way where it just really generated a lot of curiosity. How can it be the year of, peace, but also the year we lost everything? Like, how does all this stuff happen? But the music in season 4, the big driving piece to me was that martial beat from the snare, the marching snare that just was driving throughout. The music on top of it, though, was good. It was good. Season 3 punched me in the chest with every bit of its composition. So for me, it's exactly. Yeah. It's the music that puts season 3 above season 4 for me.
Are we each doing our own ranking, or are we having to come to a consensus here?
I think what I mean? It'd be cool if we came to a consensus, but also it's our show.
I think 3 is going to edge out for me. I really like, I was all ready to say season 4 because I like season 4 better. Oh, I was ready to say it, but yeah, that watching them side by side, that season 3 intro, season 4 is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like there's season 3, season 4, just because there's nothing else, and then 1 and 2.
Exactly.
Like they're so disparate between those two, but yeah, I think 3. I agree with you on this one. 3 edges it out.
Cool. And I think each one so far is trying to accomplish something different also, and so it's just
it's almost unfair to judge them against each other because they're doing different things.
But we're gonna do it anyway.
We're going to, right? Because what would we be here without ranking stuff?
That's what we do. It's definitive rankings. It's what we do.
Right.
All right, let's do it. Season 5.
And so we begin. There is a hole in your mind. What do you want?
No one here is exactly what he appears.
Nothing's the same anymore.
Commander Sinclair is being reassigned.
Why don't you eliminate the entire non-homo?
I see a great hand reaching out of the stars.
Who are you?
President Clark has signed a decree today declaring martial law.
These orders have forced us to declare independence.
Let's let people get off their encounter-suited butts and do something.
You are the one who watched to Zahadu who will die.
Why are you here?
Do you have anything worth living for?
Think of my beautiful city.
Giants in the playground.
Get the hell out of our galaxy!
We are here to place President Clark under arrest.
The snare in this is a lot different. It's not that marching. Like this is.
It's a little more dancey. They moved the martial beat onto concert toms.
Sure. And then this right here, which is so cool, stamped on the butt end of the station. All right.
What I want to open with on this one is that just that first open 2258 in Kasha's voice, immediate chills. Just and the music kind of swoops underneath it with and so it begins, and it kind of works together. Just be like, and we're in.
Here's the thing, just in the opening alone, and for sure because of the voice, the clips that they chose, I felt all the feels from the previous 4 seasons to where season 5 felt like a victory,
God, and when you think about the story of the opening themes, you know, this is our last best hope for victory, and then we achieved it. Like, it happened, and that happened thematically and musically.
In between, there was a lot of crap that happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jeff, for Brent, I'm putting number 5 first.
So
I like that. That just at the end. Here's the thing. It made me feel good.
And if you can make Brent feel, that's what
you win.
Exactly. So my thought on it is, musically, I think season 3 has the best and most powerful music on its own, but also season 3 is a much more singularly focused season. And that's not true at all, right? But it's a season of war and conflict, what leads to it and how it goes. Whereas season 5 really moved you through stuff. Musically, I loved the cut of the voiceover, how they would overlap each other a little bit. You didn't get a breath between anything. And so it just, to me, it created the vastness of the story that's been created to date by just, we got to rapid fire this stuff. And the music was underneath it and supported it. It was very legato, with a very wide open as it was going. But then that big roll, single stroke roll on the concert tom, boom. And then it's don, chicka gong, chicka gong. I think it ended super, super strong. And the beginning did what it was supposed to do. As much as I love 3, Brent, I agree, 5 is the best of all of them.
I'm going to agree with what you said about 3, except for one thing.
Yeah.
The music is powerful. I don't think it's the best, though.
No?
I like season 5's music the best. What it did, like what that music did. And again, here's the other thing, in case y'all don't know. Jeff is a musician. Brent is a sound guy.
Fair,
okay.
Right.
So that might be 2 very different reasons of how we're approaching and listening to this. But I thought musically, like season 5 was like, this one can go. That boom, 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 boom. Like, you can only take so much of that before you're like, okay, like this is heavy. That other one, man, that can carry you. Oh, carry you.
Well, I think from a sound engineering standpoint, season 5 is superior just because of the way, like, the music supports the voiceover in an incredible way.
Yes. And
Super
you know what, you say that and I sit there and think of it just from an engineering standpoint, and I'm like, there's more, there's such an artistic flow and coordination to the way that season 5 has that frankly none of the other seasons gets. And I'm not knocking any of the other seasons. It's just they hit it on season 5.
Yeah. Like, and it speaks to the complexity of season 5.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to rank them. This is our definitive 100% completely accurate and immutable ranking. Final word, ranking from top to bottom. Season 5's opening, season 3's opening, season 4's opening, a breath, season 1, and then season 2. And that doesn't mean that season 2 was bad. It's just in a ranking, somebody's got to go at the end. So
right,
they go there. I think we're agreed.
We are. Look at that. We didn't even have to do consensus. We just got there.
Mm-hmm. It happens when we do this together for a while, Jeff.
For a couple minutes. Yeah.
So that is the opening title sequences, Jeff.
Uh-huh.
Well, those are fine, but we got to talk about the actual show. We got to talk about the actual seasons themselves. Let's rank the seasons real quick.
Wow. Okay.
All right. What do you got? Right. You just do your ranking. I'll give you mine. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Because you've got yours all baked and ready to go,
Yeah,
and it's ready. So
yeah.
Give me a second.
Oh, he doesn't have his baked.
I didn't.
All right. Well, while you do that, I'll go then. Here's the deal. Season 1 is the lowest of all the episodes of all the seasons for me, just because it's the world building. It's where, frankly, not a ton happened, but it's so integral to understanding the rest of the show. Like it carries so much of the load that the rest of the show doesn't have to carry. So it's a good season. It's one of the better 90s sci-fi first seasons, but it still had a lot of its hiccups and issues. So the last one on the season is number 1.
Same.
Number 4 for me is season 2.
Same.
Again,
same.
The first half of season 2 mostly was, it felt more like just an extended part of season 1. Granted, they had to reboot with a new captain coming on board, and you had to figure that out, and you had to reset some stuff there. But there was just that first half, and you know, I completely understand why people would be watching our show, kind of going along. Then you get to season 2, it's like, okay, guys, come on now, seriously, you know. Saying my orders is just stay with us till the middle of season 2, and then we're okay. It's fine. Just stay with us till there.
Knuckle down.
But I think season 2. But I will say, and I remember saying this for season 2, the places that season 2 hit hard.
Yes.
And the places where they didn't, just sort of.
So I think, like, for me, I was between 2 and 5 being here next with 2 same reason, and I think 5 the same reason as well. There's some stuff, you know, it's not great. I think for my actual ranking, I'm gonna have 1 at the bottom, followed by 5 in number 4, and then I'm gonna have number 2 in third. I'm just thinking of how I felt at the end of season 2, which was, I mean, you don't get much higher and into it as season 2. Season 5, I felt amazing, but that was very much riding on the wave of completion and nostalgia. I think of Objects at Rest and Objects in Motion, Objects at Rest, which are great episodes, but they were also like, hey, everything that existed before this, we're just kind of wrapping up and saying goodbye to as we move on to the next chapters in our life. And it was fine, but like on its own, you know, I don't know. Whereas season 2, I was just like, F yes, let's go, hit play.
But also, what did we have before season 2? You only had season 1.
Yeah.
What'd you have before season 5? Season 4, season 3.
Well, yeah, it's going to obviously build on everything.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and here's why I disagree. So I'm placing number 5 at the third spot. In the third,
cool.
Sounds like
so we're just kind of
on this. But here's I hear everything you're saying, and you're right. The first half of season 5 is
inconsistent. I'll say, because there's some great in the first half.
Londo Mollari is right there, episode 2. And I'll still maintain, I think that the season 5 opener was the strongest of all 5 season openers.
Agreed. I agree with that.
You know, season 4 would be there for me, except it's so wrapped in the context of everything else, you know. But here's the thing: that second half of the season, what they did with Garibaldi and the drinking and bringing everything back together, and getting the Alliance up and running, the fall of Centauri Prime, getting into that story and really digging that out the Drakh, and you know, it's almost unfair to mention Sleeping in Light, but Sleeping in Light is placed there. I know it was written in season 4, but it was placed there, and that is a part of season 5, and it just tips the scale. Like, I thought those episodes, the back half was so strong in season 5, very strong in season 2 as well.
Yeah,
very, very strong. But I think I like the strongness of season 5 more than I like the strongness of season 2.
I think for the great in the second half of season 5, you still got the Lanier stuff. You've got the halfway Analyshock stuff. You've got an episode I enjoyed, but a throwaway at Psychor headquarters. Like, you just kind of have some. You've got Penn and Teller. I mean, that was a great episode, but like, we filled half of it with this. I think if I'm going to use the word inconsistent, it applies to all of season 5 for me. But the hits, the big hits, are massive, huge, and amazing. But the lows are,
dude. I'm just sitting back. I'm thinking Coming of Shadows, Long Twilight Struggle.
Yeah.
Like, out of season 2, those 2 specifically pop to mind. Like, holy cow, great episodes. So, all right. So I'm gonna go with you on this. We'll flip flop those. Okay. You've said enough to convince me. I'm with you on it is still inconsistent as it goes through. you know, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The highs are just so
we-
high they overshadow the lows. So I get that. But
I think
okay.
the real question is there's 1 and 2. Is it 3 or is it there's the 1 and 2 spot? Is it season 3 or season 4? Which one goes where? Jeff, what say ye?
The number 1 is season 3.
It's okay to be wrong, Jeff. It's fine.
The reason I say so, and this is, I know people don't agree with me about this at all, but I was so let down by the end of the Earth Civil War that like, that's going to be, I mean, and I want to be really clear. I didn't not like it, right? Like it was just like, hey, this is great TV and I'm enjoying this, but it wasn't what I thought it could have been. And it was, especially after all the other stuff we did with the Shadows. And then there's the lull post Shadow War of like, hey, we're kind of figuring stuff out so that we can posture and get in position for the Earth Civil War. That was like an episode longer than the Minbari Civil War. It's like, oh, it's done. Look at that. Okay. I was really disappointed in it.
Yeah, you and I are just going to be in different spots on this one.
All right.
We're just going to be in different spots on this one. I'm sorry. Into the those first 6 episodes of season 4, that mini segment right there is it's the best 6 hours of TV I can ever remember. Into the Fire, that the clip that you played earlier, where I was like, this is the best hour, that came from Into the Fire. I know it did.
Absolutely.
And you know, we get characters like Cartagia. Yeah, you're right. There is that little blip in the middle of like 6 episodes, 6, 7 episodes. It's like, what the hell are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And you are completely 100% correct to acknowledge that you are alone on an island about how it all wrapped up with the Earth Civil War. That was masterful. And even taking off the table of the conversation of, well, you know, when you realize what happened, how they had to compress everything and, you know, get stuff in. Even when you take that off, it was incredible mastery at storytelling and getting in what they had to get in. And had Sleeping in Light played right there at the end of season 4, I would have been happy. I would have been satisfied. 100%. You know, so I would have felt complete with the story. I'm glad we got season 5. I really am.
Yeah,
it
totally.
Filled in some necessary pieces, but yeah, we're there. Definitely that. Now that being said, I would have really liked to have seen what would happen had season 5 been part of the plan the whole time and not gotten cut and not had to compress all of that.
Yeah.
You know, like where they could breathe and let the Earth Civil War occur over more episodes and stuff like that, you know? So.
Would have been good.
Uh-huh.
So I know we're getting to it. We're going to rank, we're going to do episode rankings. It's what we do. But before that, I wanted to pause.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about some episodes we just straight up liked. Like that were just fun, enjoyable, may or may not have hit in a ranking anywhere. What are a couple episodes, Brent, that you just thought were cool and you enjoyed?
War Without End parts 1 and 2.
Yeah. And Babylon Squared. I got to put those all 3 together.
Yeah, you put those 3 together. Absolutely. They're just a great way. And War Without End this one really is considering the behind the scenes stuff, what happened with Michael O'Hare, the ability to let that rest for so long, then to be able to bring him back in, complete that storyline. It's not the original intent and the original storyline as far as you and I understand it. And to be able to craft this where it fits so well within the story, to rewrite what happened in Babylon Squared, because what we saw in Babylon Squared was not what actually happened in War Without End, but he wrote it in such a way that it works.
Yeah, incredible.
You know, and now that is what actually happened, right? So War Without End is so good and so great, and it's probably only topped by watching your particular reaction to it.
Yeah, I freaked out. I lost my mind. It was such a buildup. It was just like, and they slow played the reveal in a way. It's just like, oh my God. Yeah. It's like he knew. JMS knew that I was waiting for exactly that.
Yeah.
Do you remember Knives?
Yeah, that was the one with Jacob.
Yep.
Londo's best friend. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good episode.
It was so fun. Yeah. It was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed. That was when I started like kind of looking through the stuff and that one popped out. And I'm like, we did not talk about that episode enough after it after it aired.
You know what
and
episode?
we watched
I'm
it.
gonna do you one better. Talking about a fun episode.
Okay.
I cackled the whole way through. Love this episode. All things not just as far as a one-off episode, probably my favorite one-off of the entire series. Soulmates.
Yeah, I figured that was coming.
Soulmates. Oh my god, I love that.
You loved
episode.
that.
It
You
was
loved
so funny. Jane Carr, okay, playing Londo's wife, Timov, right? Vomit spelled backwards.
Timov, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. She was almost my favorite one-off character. And I really wanted to see her come back in season 5. Like, it just would have been perfect when he became emperor. Oh, it's been so good.
She makes a comeback in the books. So, and has a
Good to know.
Yeah, has an interesting little arc.
Good to know. I'll never read.
Right. Voices of Authority.
Is that the one with Chicky?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. If not else, just for the line, you're about to go where everyone has gone before.
Exactly.
I mean, Jeff, the trinity of episodes of Messages from Earth Point of No Return and Severed Dreams. Like, I know I talk about that 6 in season 4, but that 3 right there where Earth finally breaks away from, or I'm sorry, where Babylon 5 finally breaks away from Earth.
Yeah.
And we start on that road. Oh my God. It was just, and Sheridan's speech.
Yeah.
Through that whole, oh my God, it was so good. So good.
Yeah, I remember that moment so well because like my daughter's mom even like who hadn't been watching this saw that speech and was like, "Oh my God, that's amazing!" Like it was that powerful, and that we could say like let's just round it up and say probably 12 hours of the best TV ever happened in Babylon 5 seasons 3 and 4.
12 would be conservative.
Yeah.
Same.
I think so. But those were, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up TKO here. So I
knew you would. That's why I didn't, now let me ask you a question. Just to clarify. Are you really in love with the whole of TKO, or is it more, because for me, when I think of TKO, I don't even think of the Mutado and that whole thing. I think of everything that happened with Ivanova and the rabbi and how they were intercutting, and that this whole thing was just something else that was happening. I don't even care. This is really where the episode is. That what it is for you, or are you the whole thing together, loving the whole deal?
To me, it's the whole thing. I think that you could have taken the Ivanova story on its own, and that's going to be a top tier story wherever you put it.
Yeah.
The Walker Smith, Mutado, Mutai, all that stuff is storytelling that I deeply appreciate and think is well executed and for what it is. But what brings it to the level that it is for me is that intertwining of the two stories and how, and just to be really blunt, how almost everyone who watches it says, oh, they're doing fighting and boxing, so it's dumb and I hate it. And they don't look at the bigger picture and see, oh my God, this is brilliant, and showing you two sides of the same thing in just a really seamless and beautiful way. I think it's an excellently put together episode.
A big one for me, intersections in real time.
Oh yeah.
Two guys in a room talking for the whole damn episode. And it was phenomenal.
It was so great.
Phenomenal. And one of them wasn't even a series regular. And not even a guy I could tell you his name.
Exactly.
What else has this guy been in? I have no idea. This isn't Gol Madred here. This is dude eating a roast beef sandwich or corned beef sandwich, whatever the hell he had.
Going one-on-one with Bruce Boxleitner.
And
not only holding your own, but like elevating each other through the whole thing.
My God. Oh, so
that's
good.
a great call.
So good. Jeff, you have your TKO. I couldn't get out of here. It's the thing I called for what? 3.5 seasons.
Oh, yeah.
The redemption of Londo Mollari, the very long night of Londo Mollari is peak television.
Yeah, it really is. It's really good. Yeah, my last one I had was Korra's mother, Korra's father. I liked that episode. It's just fun to watch. Means nothing, right? Just plop it on and watch it. It's a good time.
Dude, the way that girl spaced that dude at the end, Like did not think that was going to happen at all. I was like,
And just that
"Oh."
innocent smile on her face the whole time. Like, I just did the thing. And Bester's like, good girl, good girl.
I still think that would have been a perfect episode placed in like season 2, maybe not quite season 3, maybe earlier season 4, possibly. It just, the placement of that one was so weird to me.
It was weird.
But,
but yeah,
I would rather have it than not have it. For that.
Yeah.
One. Jeff, can we? Is it unfair to mention Sleeping in Light?
So I started writing out, and I have a couple notes where I'm like, this is cheating to say. I had Natoth earlier to say Sleeping in Light also cheating.
It is, right?
But you know what? I'm gonna. So when I was writing out my notes, I'm like, yes, this is one I just enjoy and I love. But we had a clip of it in our video piece earlier. I had a little bit of the music in the intro, and our Council Chambers is here, and in the chat, so many people were like, I'm already crying, like I'm in tears, and 100%. So yeah, I enjoy it, but also, like, I don't need an ugly cry just because. Like, I'm gonna slap it on. Hey, you know what I want to do right tonight? I just want to like hold some Ben and Jerry's and cry, ugly cry. Bloop, Sleeping in Light.
Jeff, I got something for you that's not in our run or in our notes or anything.
Okay.
Going back to the favorite characters piece. Okay, we talked about favorite one-off characters, favorite recurring characters, favorite main show characters. Okay. I want you to think about actors for just a moment. And I think we would be incredibly remiss if we did not mention the single best and perhaps most prolific recurring guest actor. I'm not even sure if we can call them a guest because they were in so much of the show. Wayne freaking Alexander on this show. He is the Jeffrey Combs of Babylon 5. Like, the man just played everything.
I would almost say Jeffrey Combs is the Wayne Alexander of Star Trek.
Whoa. And you're not wrong.
Right.
You're not wrong.
It's a good call, though.
But I mean, it just, you talk about a guy that came into a show and elevated it without any of the pub. Like, people wouldn't know him except for just being fans of the show. It's so good.
Yeah, there were a handful. It's in the chat or the Council Chambers and some, but Marshall Teague was another one who they were around and they got in so many roles, and every role they were in was incredible, and they made the episode better for being in it. Good call. I like you bringing that one up.
All right, so Jeff, this next piece is going to take us probably a bit of time.
Okay.
But it is that time. We have created the definitive, objectively correct, infallible, immutable rankings of the episodes within their seasons. But now it's time to take all 110 episodes. What?
This is going to take hours.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I mean,
we're here. They ain't got anywhere else to be. Let's go.
I do. I got to go to bed some. How's this? What if we take the top 5 from each of the 5 seasons?
Okay.
And instead of ranking everything out, let's construct the top 5 of those top 5s.
Okay, that's fair. You take
instead of going through all 100
episodes, and we're gonna make a top 5 of the whole series. There's no rule that like one episode has to come from each season.
I don't think there should be any rules outside of just we're gonna take the top 5. You think 5 is good?
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's great. You got them though. Yeah.
Pull up this conveniently put together graphic that
you
I
didn't
had
have
for
this
this
planned at all, did you?
No. So
it'd be helpful if you talked to me about this first, Jeff.
It's a little plan. It'd be good for audio listeners. I'm just going to run through these really quick, and then we can get into discussing which of these are going to fall into our top 5. But
for the audio listeners, Jeff, can we link this to like our website or something?
Yeah,
or someplace where people down in the show notes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So season 1 from 5 to 1, and number 5 is Chrysalis. Number 4 is TKO. The guts on these guys, right? Number 3 is The War Prayer. 2 is Deathwalker. And in number 1 is Babylon Squared. Season 2, number 5 is The Fall of Night. In the Shadow of Zahha-Doom, A Race Through Dark Places at number 3. The Coming of Shadows and the Long Twilight Struggle leading the pack. Season 3 has Ship of Tears in number 5, Point of No Return, Severed Dreams, jal'Zha Doom, and then we combined War Without End parts 1 and 2 to be in the top.
Fair enough.
Season 4, number 5 was The Long Night, then No Surrender, No Retreat, Intersections in Real Time, Rising Star, and Into the Fire is number 1. I have a feeling that's going to be a part of our conversation as we move forward. In season 5, we have in 5th place, And All My Dreams Torn Asunder, and The Fall of Centauri Prime, Objects at Rest, The Very Long Night of Londo Mollari, and in number 1, Sleeping in Light.
Jeff, you know what I'm going to be really, just looking at this list right here, I want to know how this is going to change for us into Babylon 5 for the second time.
For real.
Because this was our first watch ranking, like, and especially I look at season 1 and we had nothing else to judge those against. And so often when fans are judging, it's because they've seen the episodes multiple times. They've seen the whole series multiple times.
Yeah.
And they're thinking of it in scope of the entire thing. We didn't have that. And I'm really curious now that we are on the other side, how that's going to change for us.
Things will look a lot different. And a lot of it, I think, for us. So yeah, it's going to be pretty fun.
Okay. So Jeff, we just have to do this one by consensus. We really do.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Okay.
I've got a list. I've got my list of 1 through 5.
Geez, you are so much more prepared. Okay.
Well, I actually have my list of 1 through 110, but you stopped me. So
you put way too much work into this, man. Like, wow. Okay.
I didn't have videos to create or anything. So,
but there's that. There's that. Oh my God. So I'm coming in with no prep on this. So I think, I'm gonna
is it easier to go top to bottom then?
I don't know about that really. I'm gonna list out ones that stand out for me going through all of them. Can I propose something?
Sure.
Can we combine World Without End 1 and 2 and Babylon Squared?
Sure. I'm for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of go through.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
They're all kind of one thing.
They're a part of it. Yeah.
So out of season 1, Babylon Squared is the only one I'm going to pull for stuff. Then a long
That
Twilight.
is the correct answer. That's the correct answer.
It is. And it's really hard for me to not bring. No, I'm not that over the top. Long Twilight Struggle for sure out of season 2. I'm going to pull out In the Shadow just to start, and then down in, oh my gosh, I can't. Okay. And then in season 3, Severed Dreams for sure. jal'Zha Doom. And 4 Into the Fire. Oh gosh. They already have so many more than 5. So this is like, I have to go through this whole process.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Come on, man. This is so much fun for people to watch. Okay, so right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So I'm going to say in number 5, I'm going to put Intersections in Real Time.
I had Long Twilight Struggle.
Okay.
At number 5.
So I was thinking of putting that at number 4.
I was gonna say, so that's why it might actually be easier to go top to bottom because, like, it depends on you. Like, I can say number 4, but I might put it up higher,
right?
Yeah, I see. I actually didn't have Intersections in Real Time. I love that episode. I think it's a great episode. But when I'm looking at all of these, Jeff, I think Long Twilight Struggle for me, what I remember out of that episode, and Jeff tends to remember all the finer details. Brent remembers how it made him feel. All right, that's just how Jeff and I are different individuals and different people. That, I think, was the first episode of the entirety of Babylon 5 that blew my mind all the way around, top to bottom. Long Twilight Struggle.
Yeah.
And I remember Drawl being a part of it, and I don't remember much else. And I can't wait to get back to it on the second watch. But I I just remember that was just such a landmark episode to me. But the other 4 are just seminal rock episodes to me.
Yeah.
So,
well, from the top, right? And number 1, the War Without End trilogy.
Is it though?
Uh-huh.
Is it though?
Did you put Sleeping in Light as the number 1?
I did. Because you can't, this one's not cheating. It is an episode and it deserves to have its place and the proper place at the very top. It is the best episode of the entire series because, and you know why? Because it takes everything that happened in the previous 109 episodes and wraps them and concludes them all in this nice little bow package.
This is where I can agree with you. Going into Sleeping in Light, we had a laundry list of these are things that need to get resolved. We need answers to these things or we're mad. And it was what? 4 minutes in, and we're like, I don't care about any of this stuff. This whole series has been about the relationships between these people, and that's all it is. And so I think just that being able to knock us off our high horse of like, you better give us answers to this stuff and accept this. Yeah, Sleeping in Light at number 1. I can agree with that.
It was a master stroke. In the seminal master stroke of the entire series. Here's the thing, Jeff. I don't even have War Without End and Babylon Squared.
Are you kidding
number
me?
2.
What? What do you have at number 2?
I loved War Without End. Okay. Seminal episode. It's number 3 for me.
Okay.
All right. It is number 3. Great episode all the way around. How it wrapped everything back around. It did time travel the right way too, Jeff. You don't see time travel being done the right way. It did it the right way.
Yeah.
Okay. Love that episode. So good. It was not as good as Into the Fire. It did not punch like Into the Fire. Into the Fire, man. Almost Into the Fire carries a little bit of the same thing that Sleeping in Light did, because Into the Fire is the wrap up of the entire Shadow Vorlon thing, which carried all the way really from The Gathering. I mean, it just carried the whole show, and it brought that whole piece to conclusion, and everything after that was falling action. You know, and that into the, and I've said it, you've heard me say at least twice in this show tonight, and I'll say it again. It is the single best hour of television I have ever seen in my life, possibly barring Sleeping in Light, but that's a whole different animal. Like it is. Yeah. But it, to me, Into the Fire, if you put up Into the Fire, War Without End, the trilogy there, personally, I got to go Into the Fire.
I just feel like, one of the things we look at for our rankings is which one do we just want to sit down and watch. And like, I'll watch all 3 of those episodes.
Yep.
In fact, like, just because it's a trilogy, right? I'm going to hold that up against the whole Messages from Earth Point of No Return, Severed Dreams thing. Oh my God, as I say that, I might actually want to watch that trilogy more.
It's a good set.
It's so good.
We still got number 4 slot open there, Jeff.
Uh-huh. So I think like, Sleeping in Light was the series finale.
Yeah.
Into the Fire was also a series finale.
Could have been. Yeah. Wasn't that the one that were like, this could have wrapped up the whole damn series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It put a lid on everything. It ended with a monologue of, this is the end of the Third Age, and, and kind of spelled things out. Objects at Rest. It was also, this series had multiple endings to it. And each one was very different in how it approached it, right? Into the Fire had what I liked, and here's me talking it into number 2, is it had some of the most incredible space battles that we've had. It was exciting. It was fun to watch, even though I'm still disappointed in the whole, we're going to go get first ones to fight for us. And hey, they're over here and they have like 2 graphics of what they're doing. And then it moved into that. And then it did the thing that we, as people who enjoy Star Trek, love to see in our science fiction. And that's talking your way to the solution, where they basically were able to talk down the Vorlons and shadows. There's a lot more to it, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but it kind of had everything in it. Whereas, Objects at Rest was more of the, it's just we're closing everything out, and this is the thing, and everything goes. And then Sleeping in Light was just punch you in the face, stomach, and anywhere else to make sure that that you were emotionally impacted by this thing. So
right.
So are you putting Severed Dreams at number 3?
No.
Is that what?
No,
Bro.
No, I had War Without End at number 3 with Severed Dreams at number 4.
Okay.
And that whole list is so tight, so tightly packed. And you could convince me to, just like you did War Without End 1, 2, and then Babylon Squared, to go that trilogy all together, because that is also really a single story, but Severed Dreams is the one that brings it all home. So, which is why I put that one in there at number 4. But it also feels cheating to put multiple episodes in one slot. So.
Well, it's our show. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And then you have Long Twilight Struggle at number 5.
Yeah. And you know what we're missing? We're missing Very Long Night of Londo Mollari and Fall of Centauri Prime. And I'm missing Intersections in Real Time. We haven't decided on that one just yet. The Long Night. Oh my God, The Long Night. Such a good episode.
Yeah.
Like
we're literally doing the impossible right now.
Hey, you know what this is like? Seriously. Did you ever see the 1968 version of the movie Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a scene where, spoiler alert for Romeo and Juliet, folks. There's a scene where Juliet's, I think it's her cousin, Tybalt, is killed, but he was killed by Romeo, her love. And so she's just going like, oh, Tybalt, oh, Romeo, oh, Tybalt, oh, like she just can't figure out which one she's grieving over. And I'm sitting here going like, oh, there's this episode, and then there's this episode, and then there's this episode, and then there's this episode, and I can't choose.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like right now. Yeah. Because it's unfair to say, it really is unfair to say top 5, but that's what we're doing, so we've got to do it.
You know what I want to, so I'm okay with the top 4 as is: Sleeping in Light, Into the Fire, War Without End trilogy, and Severed Dreams.
Yeah.
In number 5, I want to replace Long Twilight Struggle with The Fall of Centauri Prime. And here's why.
Okay.
They're linked. They are very linked, right?
Okay.
And Fall of Centauri Prime wraps so much of what was Londo in looking at him. This is it's the culmination of all of that stuff. And it places it in a time, in the birthing of the Interstellar Alliance. So you have there is no clear cut good guy and bad guy. Whereas in Twilight Struggle, Centauri were the bad guys, big time, hardcore. And the only redeeming thing was Londo, having some vinegar go down with this whole I don't like that this is happening. But it still happened, and he still watched it. Yeah. And to what Jakar said, you said nothing. You said nothing. In Fall of Centauri Prime, he said something silently, but he took it all on to do that. So I would like to place that one at number 5.
I can agree to that compromise.
Cool.
I like it. I don't think there's a way that I could disagree with that, not having said what I said about, or having said what I said about Sleeping in Light and Into the Fire.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was building
it's in that vein. So we're throwing in the seminal episodes and the ones that wrap everything together, because they really pull it all together. It's such a great series, Jeff. It's so hard. It's so hard.
It's literally, it is literally all of them. So what is the top 5? Yes. That is the answer.
What is the top 5? All of it.
Yeah.
So
it's like, if we can put War Without End 1, 2, and Babylon Squared together, if we can talk about messages from Earth Point No Returns, let's just say we're going to put as our top 1 episode, all 110 episodes of Babylon 5 as a full.
And again, that is the nature of Babylon 5, Jeff.
Yeah.
Because the whole show is one story. This isn't some episodic TV show. It's the whole show.
It's the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though the off episodes that don't mean anything still mean stuff, and still do lifting that other episodes don't have to do. So it just all except for that one episode. The one about the night guy, the king.
Well, you know what? I say that episode was just about the inefficiency of the post office, and then it's a palatable episode.
Oh, Jeff, buddy. I've loved doing this project with you.
This has been such a blast.
You know, here at Babylon 5 for the first time, Jeff, we have a lot of fun on this show. Right? We like to play our games, right?
We do. We
like
love
to
games.
We have our predictions. We got a rule of 3. Jeff, it's time to bring in an all new game. We've never done this one before. I mean, we have, but not on this show and not here. This one is going to test our deep dive knowledge of the show here at the series wrap up.
Okay.
All right. This is going to test our analytical prowess that we touted as we came over as Star Trek guys. Specifically when it comes to, let's just say, practical applications. It's time, Jeff, for the game that everybody knows and loves. Would you rather the Lurkers edition?
Okay.
Set it up, Jeff. Set it up, buddy.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with Would You Rather, the goal of this is to have basically 2 unenviable, unwantable, horrible choices, and you have to say which one you would rather do. This is a game I play with my daughter very frequently, and she has a really good time with. I'll start with a really softball one for you that's mostly fun, just to kind of give an example. But would you rather only ever be able to eat flarn or only ever be able to eat spoo?
You know, here's the thing. My instinct says to go with flarn.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. However, I'm thinking of that episode with Mac and Bo sitting there. It's like, you know, the spoo stuff's actually pretty good. And it's a dish that is known the galaxy over. Even He-Man likes the dish.
He does.
So I kind of think spoo might be the answer over flarn, because wouldn't flarn like just these like little cubes of something?
Looks like tofu.
Yeah, and I'm not a tofu dude. I don't even like that consistency, man. So I'm gonna go with spoo.
Okay.
I just on the record, on the social proofing. See, this is why your ratings and recommendations and reviews help, folks. Based on the ratings and recommendations of folks I've seen in the show, I'm gonna go with spoo.
That's fair. Okay.
All right, Jeff. I'm not throwing you any softballs. All right. Would you rather be tortured by Cartagia or be hit with a Psychop pain?
Question.
Yes.
Who is delivering the pain? Is it Harriman Gray?
Level 12 Psychop.
Just a random Psychop.
Matheson, Bester, I don't care.
Okay. If it was Harriman Gray, I would take the pain just to hear him say it. It'd be worth it. So what we know about Cartagia and his torture is ultimately it's going to end in vivisection. He killed the court jester, right? And then he took a spoon to Jakar's eye. I'm going to take pain. Because, that's going to suck, but I'm going to sleep it off.
You think you are.
I know. I haven't been pained before, but I tell you what, I have had some really, really long nights, and you can eventually sleep that off and be fine. Okay. This one's a little outside of the show itself, a little more meta. Would you rather that Legend of the Rangers became a series? Or that the enemies in third space replace the Shadows as the big bad in the series?
You know, Jeff, I trust JMS at this point. I trust his writing. And I trust that whatever the hell Legends of the Rangers was going to get a lot better. But those alien dudes in third space were boo. And if I had to live with those guys and replace the shadows, no. I will submit myself to 7 22 episodes seasons of lady fighting in a whatever and throwing my headphones down before I'm going to give up the shadows.
All right. I agree with that, actually. Yeah.
All right, Jeff. I got one for you.
Okay.
And this one's kind of like a theme from the last one. All right. Would you rather face Lanier in the Muda dough to the death, or face down a pack of angry Narn throwing their haymakers?
Will they do like the flying kicks too? This is actually easy. I'll take the Narn because that's going to be over relatively quickly. We saw that with Rifa. They got on him. They beat him down. He was done. Lanier has a bit of a, we saw it with Marcus when he lifted it up and yelled. He kind of doesn't like humans. He's got a little bit of a bias there. I feel like he would stretch it. And it wouldn't be hard for him to stretch that out with me because I would have no defense against, he would basically be the Crane technique. No defend from Jeff Akin here. And he could just have fun with me. And that could last a long time.
And then he would steal your motorcycle.
He'd steal my motorcycle and then try and like steal my girl at the same time, even though she wouldn't be interested because she never really was, but he'd still go for it because he's Lanier. So
can I give you a bonus one that I just now thought of and I want to use it? Would you, this isn't a bad one. Would you rather ride on the back of Lanier's, like ride the girlfriend position, if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On the back of Lanier's motorcycle, or ride in that same position on the back of Captain Gideon in a speeder bike?
Oh, Captain Gideon.
Yeah.
Not only is it fun to do that, but you get the smell of that leather jacket going, and it'd be Gideon. Okay, Brent, would you rather face the Inquisitor or get implanted with a keeper?
Ooh, I'm going to face the Inquisitor. And you know
Really?
why? Yeah, because you and I are in very different spots of that episode.
Yes.
In the end, I trust Jack the Ripper. That if I'm not right, I'm going to be, but the Keeper, listen, the Keeper is going to torture me and then keep me alive to continue to torture me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to and listen, and first of all, look, I don't drink that much. Like I'm not a big drinker, so I can't do that part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just not good. So and it kind of also one ends and the other is with you for the rest of your life. So I'm gonna face down Jack the Ripper.
All right.
But he's also gonna teach me something about myself through that process.
Or you'll die and then it's
or
done.
I'll die and then I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I ain't gotta worry about it anymore. All right. I enjoyed coming up with this one.
Oh no.
All right, Jeff, you work housekeeping on the station.
Okay.
Would you rather have to clean up Delenn's quarters after her chrysalis, or clean up Garibaldi's quarters the day after a bender?
Delenn's quarters. I have a child and I was in a touring band for a long time and I'm not okay with vomit at all. And at least the chrysalis thing would be some like, oh, this is kind of neat. Never seen something like this before.
I'll take a piece and put it on my mantle.
I'll give this as a gift to John Sheridan. Here you go.
You get the flakes of that like rock skin that she had going on.
Dustbuster, that whole thing.
Oh my
God. All right, I just have one more for you.
Okay.
Would you rather, if you had the chance, save the Marcab or save the Hayek dough?
The Hayek dough were the ones that were alive or the ones that had perished way back when?
Perished way back when.
I'm going to save them.
Okay.
Because I don't think they deserve to perish. The Hayek deserved to be perished, but the Hayek dough did not. The Marcab made their choice. They made their own stupid choice. And you know what? We watched that episode. Like, that episode was so timely to us watching. And you guys send all your emails to Jeff at Babylon5forthefirst-time.com. Okay. That was an episode that showed in 1994 what happens when people don't listen to the folks that know what the fuck they're talking about. Pardon my language. They, listen to them, folks. They know. I've seen it. You can say whatever you want to say. Firsthand knowledge over here. Like, stuff goes bad when you don't listen to the folks that really, really know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Marquab did it to themselves. The Hayek-Do had it done to them. And it was such a point. The Hayek-Do was such a poignant lesson, man.
Yeah,
such a
it
poignant
was.
lesson. Jeff, I want to bring one in from our council chambers who are here watching with us live.
Oh, okay.
Because it's so good. It's so good. Our friend Suzanne says this. Would you rather? Oh my God.
Oh no. Oh my God.
Would you rather listen to the songs in Walkabout on repeat, or be forced to laugh with Garibaldi during his second favorite thing? I'm going to go on repeat.
Are you really?
What do you want to do?
I'm going to clarifying question. Do we get popcorn while watching?
Nope. No clarifiers. Your choice is Walkabout songs on repeat, laughing with Garibaldi, watching Duck Dodgers.
I'm going to laugh with Garibaldi. Man, I can't listen to that song one time, let alone on repeat. So bad.
Oh my word.
So bad.
Oh my word. That's so good. That's so good. Jeff, Suzanne, thank you for that. You and I have said the Babylon 5 fan community is the best one out there.
Yeah.
I would amend that. Our community right here, our Discord folks, our Patreon folks, our council chamber folks right here, even like the people that comment on YouTube and in the other places, like we've gotten to know these folks over the last couple of years. One of the best absolute communities I've ever been a part of. You guys, absolutely phenomenal. But even in the best of communities, Jeff, opinion is often taken as fact. Like Kefir was awful. Sleeping in Light is the greatest series finale of all time, which it is, but
It
whatever.
is.
But Jeff, there's some unpopular opinions out there too. You and I documented every single one of them as we went through. But we've had some time to think a little bit more. So I'm going to ask you here at our series wrap up, and we're only going to do one. We'll only do one of these. What is an unpopular opinion that you have that could get you canceled out of this community?
Just one,
and it better be good.
Opinion?
It better be good. I mean, if you have a couple that are like really good and it's going to make good listening, then do it. But like,
I have a couple here, but I have two that I think are big.
All right.
One, and this, I don't think this will come as a surprise to people, but Delenn was better pre-Chrysalis, and she at best was an inconsistent character, which is a nice way of saying that I think she's my least favorite of the main cast.
You're right. That is an extremely unpopular opinion.
It's an opinion, and I totally get how like people like she's great for so many people, but not for me.
I think for more explanation on that, find Jeff's journey. Actually, you can find Jeff's personal journey with Delenn on our Patreon page, patreon.com/Babylon5First. That's the number 5 in the word first.
Well done. Well done.
Yes.
What's yours?
I got a few here.
Oh, we get one, and then you're like, I got a couple.
Here's the thing. You ready?
Okay.
Jeff, say one or two.
Two.
Okay. Byron was a perfectly done character.
Explain.
Everything about Byron you were supposed to hate. Everything about Byron was supposed to make you feel ugh. Everything about Byron, whenever he came on screen, was supposed to make you go, this guy again. everything about Byron was to make you sit back and go, how in the world are those people following him? He is awful. As an outsider looking in, you're going, are you nuts? Who is this guy? He's boring. His hair is boring, although it's sunshine, but oh my word, and he's creepy, and everything about him as a cult leader is supposed to give you all of those reactions, and they did it perfectly.
Okay.
That doesn't mean I like him. That doesn't mean I want to do anything with him. That doesn't mean I wasn't bored out of my freaking mind every time he was on screen. I just wanted him to die. But that's the point, I think. That's the point. Is he's supposed to be that. And he was, and if that's the case, then that means he was done to perfection.
I've heard that opinion before, and it's been like dogpiled on when people have it. And I'm going to go back to my old argument too. It's X-Pac heat in wrestling. Like you hate him and he's awful, but you just hate him. Whereas like Cartagia, who's a very different villain, but Cartagia, you hated him, but you wanted to see him. Byron, it was a very different thing, but like there was nothing redeeming in him. There was nothing in the pro wrestling parlance. There's nothing that would make me want to lay my money down to watch him get beat up. I would actually lay money down to just not see him.
Again, that was the point.
I don't know, man.
I think that had to have been the point. And I'm basing this entire opinion on something I've never actually heard from the man himself. I'm just making an assumption. That's how you were supposed to feel about this guy. Okay. That's what we wanted you to do.
Okay.
Now, that being said, when we get to that part of the rewatch, you and I are both going to be like, oh,
I know, right? Not again.
Let's be over. Okay, Jeff, I'm curious. What was your other one?
So I said a couple that like people would expect out of me, right? The Interstellar Alliance was just a trumped up thing for Sheridan to become Lord Tyrant of the Galaxy. Bester was the victim of the crew on Babylon 5. He didn't deserve the treatment he got. We talked earlier, Gideon is a better captain than Sheridan.
That Bester one, man.
Dude, I'm still there. And when we get in second time, I'm going to pay special attention to like, what has he done in front of and to the crew to warrant being treated like that? Because I think he was bullied by, he was bullied into becoming the bad guy is what happened. In fact, the crew of Babylon 5 is responsible for everything Bester became. And I threw that, I don't know. But my big one that I really have, and Brent, you're not going to like this one at all.
Okay.
Zathras is dramatically overrated in the fan community.
I don't know what happened to Jeff. I think we've lost his feed there. Sorry, folks. Show's over. We will not be continuing. No, we're not. How could you? How could you? Traitor. Betrayer of worlds.
I am stealing this from someone who I don't know was online, but I don't disagree that Zathras was 4 minutes away from being the jal'Zha of Babylon 5. And that's just like, we didn't get enough of him. Like we got just enough of him that it was okay, but the level to which he is heralded is, and to be clear, in the chat, they're saying, I mean Zathras, not Zathras. I do not mean Zothras, but I do mean Zathras.
Oh, Jeff.
Yeah. Did you have any other ones?
Oh, I got a couple here, but I'll give you this one, and I'm wording this in the right way. The Regent, Jokey McJokerson.
Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah.
Got everything he deserved.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
He was as much as I love him and I just want to hug him and I want to whatever, he was as much a part of that as anything else. And it's proof by one action and one action alone, the joke that he told that he laughed at.
Yeah.
He was so far in that. And I think he says at some point, he's like, yeah, this is all what we had coming to us. Like, this is it.
Yeah, that's right. I can agree. Is he outright said, he's like, this is how you got it. This is how I've chosen to show up to survive around here. And so it was all a choice. I can agree with that one.
Let me give you one you might not agree with.
Okay.
Because I think most of the fandom doesn't agree with this one. At least I hope so, because I kind of got that vibe. The Vorlons were right and are still the good guys. Listen, they went nutso after the Shadows killed Kosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Take that off the board because they just lost their minds at that point. Okay. But when you look at the whole piece of how are we going to help the younger civilizations, the younger whatever, advance, we're going to do it through these channels. Those are the right channels to help civilizations advance. And they were right about that. And I would side with the Vorlons in and through that process. Now, they may have lost some of their reasoning why. They may have lost some of those other pieces. It may become more about them, but they were still right in what they were doing and how they were going about it.
So I think to pull a Rush reference, I got Mass Effect earlier, I got Rush here. If you're playing Jeff Bingo, you might be getting close at this point. But in Rush Song, there's Cygnus X1, Book 2. They talk about this group that followed Dionysus for a while, and they just made wine and partied and had a great time. And then the winter came and they were bad. So then they followed Apollo, and like but they lost their culture and whatever. It's the balance, right? And I think that's part of what we learn in this is it's a balance between the Shadows and the Vorlon. Are you familiar very much with the writings or philosophy of Ayn Rand?
She did World Atlas or something like that, right?
Yeah, Atlas Shrugged.
Atlas
Fountainhead.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
So, and then even like this here behind me, my Rush 2112, that was based on Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead thing. And I feel like the Vorlon so she calls her philosophy, I think it's universalism or something like that. But I think that's the Vorlon. Complete order. No individuality, no nothing, all serving the greater peace. And her writings, deeply flawed and problematic as they are, go through and talk about like how that just destroys the human spirit, kills all creativity, and all those pieces. I feel the Vorlon are the peak of that. I also find it interesting that on one hand, you say the Vorlons had it right and were helping societies the right way. But on the other hand, you're like, they did Byron right. Because he was all like, what you're basically saying is the Vorlon were right to tamper with humanity and other races to give them telepathy for their own purposes. And Byron was right to be all pissed off about that and mad and angry.
I don't think Byron was right to be mad and pissed off about that and angry. And I do think the Vorlons were right in giving the younger races the ability to defend themselves against a monstrous race. And again, judging by your diatribe just moments ago and looking at the chat blowing up right now, I'm going to stand by my unpopular opinion.
Hey, they're unpopular that's what we said they were, right? Awesome. But this wouldn't be a For the First Time program if we weren't looking at the messages in the series. Right? We ask ourselves this question every week. Does this have any deep morals, messages? Does it holding up a mirror to society, maybe giving us hope that we'll be better in the future, instead of us going in and being like, oh, here's the lessons we pulled out? Because you can just check out our episode on Objects at Rest, which just lists out everything, and we talk about that in a deep way. Instead of that, why don't we talk about a handful of episodes for us that's really stood out in delivering the messages that were there?
Sure.
Like, do you have any that immediately stand out for you?
Man, I got to tell you, this was such a hard exercise to go through, because it's 110 episodes of what was that message? What was the episode of that episode? And so I tried to remember which ones, I just took which ones stood out, which ones just stick with you, right? So I had three that I could sit back and go, I got that one.
Okay.
The first one, I would assume I would assume at least two of these are probably on both of our deals. The first one's Garden of Gethsemane.
Yep.
I go back to that episode. Where in particular, the moment when Sheridan meets the new guy, the new brain wiped dude who killed Brother Edward in that episode. And he has a moment to make a choice of, am I going to do to this guy what I just slammed people for doing to Brother Edward? And he has that moment of decision to make right there. It was such a pivotal moment. And you and I both talked about how in many ways that really set the tone for what the entirety of season 3 and much of the show really was going to be about all the way through. So I've got Garden of Gethsemane on my list. Do you want me to do all of mine and then you do all of yours?
We'll just go through because we might actually have quite a few that.
So I have that one. The other one, and this one should come as no surprise to anybody, but The Very Long Night of Londo Mollari.
Yep.
When we talk about forgiveness, when we talk about receiving forgiveness, because that's just as important as issuing forgiveness many times. And how to culminate that. And also Very Long Night of Londo Mollari is Fall of Centauri Prime really becomes the culmination, but it really happens there within Very Long Night. And of what people made. I mean, you guys made memes out there for me about is this the redemption of Londo Mollari? And it comes down to that one episode. And it's these things. I just remember, like, we were talking about it. And then all of a sudden it's, here it is, everything you've been talking about for so many years. And I thought that was, that is one that stands out to me in particular. But the other one, we've already referenced it earlier today, and I don't remember which episode it was. Jeff, you're going to remember it off the top of your head. The episode with the Hayek dough.
Yeah.
The Hayek and the Hayek dough. And when you sit back and you go, what the Hayek dough did, or what the Hayek did to the Hayek dough is a warning of what happens when we commit genocide.
Yeah.
Is a warning of what happens when we try to remove people from our midst. We are better together. We need each other. That message really stands out to me when I think back over the entirety of the show. Go, which ones percolate to the top of my head? That's the one that really percolates up. So, what about you, Jeff?
We had a couple. They're the same. Passing Through Gethsemane, Secrets of the Soul, which was the Hayek-Do one.
Mm-hmm.
One that stood out to me also was Seek Transit Veer, and just how normalized bigotry and racism can become to the point that they don't even appear.
That's the one where we meet his supposed potential wife, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's just like, oh yeah, we killed this guy for this thing, blah, blah, blah. Confessions and Lamentations stood out. And we just talked about it earlier. The Markab are gone because of choices that they made. And that one, one of the things I love, we both have appreciated about Babylon 5 is its commentary on faith and religion, those being separate, and distinct, sometimes parallel things. Yeah. And this is just really beautifully spelled out the dangers of religion. But the one that I had that's actually a pairing that actually surprised me when I went through and I was thinking about, this thing really stands out. And then I saw which episode it was in. I was like, I'm going to say this. So it's the combination of Into the Fire and the Paragon of Animals.
Okay.
So Into the Fire really happens because of humanity's ability to bring people together. So that's not a highlight on humanity, but that's just the whole point that JMS makes throughout so much of his creation, that we are better together than we are on our own. And then that was verbalized in such a powerful and beautiful way in the Paragon of Animals, which I looked back at our episode on that, and this was so buried in the story that it didn't reflect in our rating of it. But that's where G'Kar read off his declaration of principles. We are one. And that was so powerful. Like, it's almost as much as we talk about that monologue from Objects at Rest and holding that up of like, this is what Babylon 5 is about. That declaration of principles should be sitting right next to it. The 2 tablets. Well, Brent, that's it for Babylon 5. All of Babylon 5. Next week, we're going to go a little meta. We're going to go a level up from Babylon 5. Brent and I have been reading J. Michael Straczynski's autobiography, Becoming Superman. So we will talk about that, dive into the genius behind all of this brilliant series. And then from there, just a programming note for everyone. From there, we're going to watch this series again. Babylon 5 for the second time will kick off. And
why, Jeff? Why do people want to come back and watch this for the second time?
Hey, you know what? At this point, I love if they show up. I just want to watch it again. Like, if everybody were to I'm going to say
done
this.
The show. Why are we doing this again?
Bro, there's a whole other show that we need to make.
What are you talking about?
We watched this the second time. It is not going to be the same as it was the first time.
Why? Because they change it?
Because we changed. So join us here next week. We'll watch the Becoming Superman. Then you have to join us as we are the changed group watching Babylon 5. Thank you for being here through all of this incredible journey, and thank you for celebrating the series with us here today. If you haven't already, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Share this podcast. Now is the time. We're about to start over at The Gathering and into Midnight on the Firing Line, season 1, 2, episode, all through everything. Get this thing out there and let people experience what you've been able to enjoy with Brent and myself. So, Brent, that's it. Until next time, we're going to get
Jeff.
Yeah, man, what's up?
You know, I saw that picture of you.
What picture?
Oh, you know, the one where you're about to go where everyone has gone before.
Oh, come on, man, come on.
Hey, listen, Jeff, it's cool. It's not like this podcast is a trek through some old 90s sci-fi show. This podcast means something.
Oh, get the hell out of here, man.
Now get the hell out of our galaxy.
Whew.
2 hours.
That's not bad.
That's right on about where I thought we would be.
I thought we'd be a little bit over.
Well, we are just a smidge over.
It's just a little, so it's good. Yeah. This was great. There's been a ton. I want to acknowledge a ton of conversation in the council chambers. We didn't catch a lot of it, but love that you're here with us.
That was just so you guys. That actually was a little bit on purpose from us tonight because we knew that this conversation was going to be packed. So yeah.
Oh my! Well, we said we weren't going to do this, but Suzanne just doubled down on her "Would you rather."
Oh, no. Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah. So would you rather Walkabout songs on repeat or the sing along with Byron?
Oh, I'll take Walkabout songs.
Same.
If you give me the choice between those two, I'll take the Walkabout song all day long.
Yeah.
Because Byron was awful. Don't get me wrong. Despite what I said, Byron was awful. I never want to, I would change the channel if I have to deal with that one more time.
I'll tap into my Bene Gesserit training that I've never gotten, and I will will my heart to stop. I just I can't. I could not.
Right. There's no way. There's no way. Yeah. Hey, listen, everybody out there, thank you guys so much. And to those of you guys watching with us live right now, yeah, I'm talking about you, council chambers. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Really. I know we say it all the time, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart every single time we're here. We are so grateful that you guys are here along the journey with us. We love hanging out with you guys on those hangout nights. We love getting to have you guys here as part of the deal. You guys are rock stars, man.
It's awesome. You're awesome.
Yeah. And if any of Patreon, you guys are rock stars. I mean, everybody's cool.
And if anybody watching on YouTube right now wants to join this, just go to our Patreon. We'd love to have you. And you know what? We think we say it in the ad that runs on the podcast, but it's cool. We have cool stuff on our Patreon. There's neat things there, our reaction videos, other stuff that
it's more content, but it's also just it's a way to connect with us.
Well, you know what it really is?
It's
a way to connect with the community.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
We just have a lot of cool people that are here, and come meet these really cool people that we've gotten to meet.
Except for that one guy.
There's that one guy.
Yeah, but
for real. I think I canceled his membership already though. So
there you go. There you go. So, hey, thank you everybody for what you guys have been and for where we're here. So we do need to get out of here though.
Yeah, my daughter's just directly outside the door waiting for me.
Right. So with that, we'll take you guys next time. Hey, listen, if you guys are here, we've already done that. We're already into the other. So get the train moving, Jeff.
Yep. Here we go.
All right, here we go. Choo choo.
We'll see you.
Or in the words of Lanier, woohoo.
That was Sheridan.